Oh, we're live. Okay. Okay, guys, the video, I'm coming on a little bit later tonight. I was working today at the dental office, and then I scooted home. There's some special birthdays in the house tonight. Both Brian and Brooke, it's their birthday on the same day, and it would have been my grandma's 101st birthday today too. So 3 birthdays on one day. So I prepped up some lasagna. It's in the oven cooking, and then we're gonna have some cake. So I won't be too long tonight, but I really wanted to get on and talk about credit cards. Credit cards is probably what I'm in the inbox talking to you guys about the most, and probably one of the most common themes in terms of topics when talking with people. And one of the things that can really suck your finances. Okay? Coming from someone who's been there, I get it. Right? It's this constant cycle. You've seen me post that. Right? You work so hard, and sometimes we chase all these different opportunities because we think it's more money that we need. But it's not always more money that you need. It could be habits, behaviors, and your emotions. So we're going to talk a little bit about that. Some things that I've come to learn, that it doesn't necessarily mean more money is going to change things for you. So, but sometimes we can get stuck in this cycle of constantly chasing, I got to pick up every last shift, I got to get a side hustle, I got to do this or this to pay the credit card that you feel like you're sinking into. So amongst inflation, it's just another thing to the pile, right? So paying off your credit card once and for all can free up so much wiggle room in your budget and lessen the stress, the financial stress, so much. So credit cards can carry an interest rate of up to 35%. And I have heard through the pipeline that those interest rates possibly may be rising as the government and the Bank of Canada has speculated. Well, not speculated. They have risen interest rates 0.5%, I believe. They did mention something about credit cards too, so that could be in there. So that's a lot of interest, especially if your card's maxed out or if you have a large balance. And you very much so can get trapped in the money game. Okay, so first thing you want to do with your credit card, and this is what I tell everybody, is how many times has your credit card statement come in the mail and you literally let it sit for days because you know what it's going to say? You know it's maxed out or fairly close to. You know, right? So you avoid looking at it. You may look at it, open it just enough to see what your balance is at, have a mini heart attack, and then look at the minimum payment and pay either just the minimum payment or do what I did. Work so much. So like I would work 40 days or 40 hours a week at the dental office, maybe more than that, 10-hour days, picking up every last shift to make the most money I could, get paid, put every last little penny down on that credit card. Then you're short for money. You feel like you're in that cycle of paycheck to paycheck because you wiped out your bank account by taking that paycheck and putting it on your debt because you want that credit card debt gone so bad. And then you end up, grasping for straws because you've emptied out your bank account to pay off or pay down your credit card. Then you have to use your credit card again because you've emptied your bank account, and the cycle repeats, right? So what I want you to do is, because most often when you're in that type of situation, and I know this because I've been here and I'm studying it right now, so I know the behaviors that go along with this. This is what I'm studying to be a professional in, right? I have the life experience in it. I'm working behind the scenes to get my certification to understand the behaviors, the traumas, and the therapy behind it, right? So most often you're not looking at what's on that statement. You're just looking at how much is on the bill, how much the balance is, and you're just looking to pay some, right? So what I want you to do from now on, and what I want you to do right now is find your last 3 to 6 months worth of credit card statements, and I physically want you to go there. I want you to sit down and I want you to look at it. And I want you to grab a highlighter. This is just a pen, but grab a highlighter and look at your bill. Now you're gonna go and you're gonna look at it and you're gonna see with the highlighter, I want you to highlight everything that is a need. Everything that you need to survive, a non-negotiable. Groceries, heat, hydro, your phone bill. We talked about how you can lessen your phone bill yesterday, so maybe you've already analyzed that. Things that are needs. Now, we're going to get into subscriptions. I think it's tomorrow. There could be subscriptions on your credit card, and you could look at it and be like, I need that. I do need it. I can't live without it. But can you really? What's more important to you right now? Having something that's maybe a little fun, maybe it's a subscription box or an auto ship, whatever it may be. Is it more important to get that, or more important to dig out and be credit card debt free? So you got to kind of weigh your options here. Maybe you're on an auto ship and you're like, I do need this and this. Maybe it's this supplement, that supplement. I do need it for my health, but I could do away with maybe these two for a little while until I get, on my feet a bit more. So that may be a scenario that you want to look at. But be really honest about yourself, about what the non-negotiable needs are, and highlight everything that's on your credit card that is a non-negotiable need. Okay? From there, you're going to have a visual right in front of you. Everything that is a need and a non-negotiable that you need to survive is going to be staring back at you because you've highlighted it. Now, you have this perfect visual in front of you right now, and what can you do, right? You look at it, is a majority of the things on those credit card statements highlighted? So like, is the whole page, the statements, it can be pages sometimes, right? I've been there. Is the whole page highlighted? Is it all needs? If it is, and you still can't keep up to your minimum payments, I'm going to say you're probably going to either need to seek another job or look at additional income streams, whatever that may be, pick up more shifts. But this isn't what I'm here to teach on tonight, because I'm going to say the most people I talk to, it's not full of needs. There may be a few highlights. Most of it's full of wants. Now, I will never sit here and tell you to cut back on your spending. This is life. Life's meant to be lived. But can you find patterns in the charges on your statement? Did you maybe go overboard? I said this example yesterday. Did you go into the mall to get a new shirt for a gala, but come out with a dozen bags and your bank account $400 later? Okay, so this is what I'm saying. There's a fine line. There's a fine balance, right? I will never say to deprive yourself. Life's meant to be lived, but maybe check on how much you're indulging, right? It's been a hard week. I feel like I need to pick me up. Now, I'm not going to get into habits and triggers and behaviors today because there is so much you can do to change that. A lot of us, retail therapy is a thing. So a lot of us will, if we're celebrating, we'll buy something. If we're sad, we'll buy something. If we're depressed, we'll buy something. If we're happy, we'll buy something. And we use retail therapy as a means to sometimes fill a void, or sometimes to get that dopamine hit. Makes us feel good, and then we repeat it the next week. Another reason why we may indulge in overspending, however that may be, it's different for everybody. Sometimes it's clothes, sometimes it's gadgets, sometimes it's different for everybody. This happens when we feel like we need to be in control. So if something is like out of control in our life, whether it's something that happened at work that's out of control, COVID, a lot of people, credit card debt across the board, I think it was at 24%. 24% I'd have to look at the stat again, but it was quite high amount, percentage-wise, that credit card debt across the board jumped up. Now, there was a lot of factors at play. There was job loss, there were people quarantining, everything like that, but there was also a lot of spending. Because when things are out of control in our outside world, something that we can do to control ourselves is shop, because we are in control. You go on, you buy something, you get that sense of control. So again, I have noticed more people have been shopping lately due to what's going on in the world, right? So you'll notice that when there's something that's out of control, the shopping tends to go up. Now, not just shopping, overspending is, I guess, overspending. And that is all tied to habits, behaviors, and our emotions, right? So I could go in on another day all into the details behind that and the behavior and why we do that. But for the sake of today, I'm just trying to bring awareness or expand your awareness as to just getting started with getting that credit card paid off. So the first thing, go in and find out where your money's going, needs or wants, okay? So get to know your money and where it's going. Gather the past 4 to 6, 3 to 6, whatever it may be, months of credit card statements. And you're going to highlight everything on the statement that is a necessity or a need. Is a majority of your credit card purchases necessities or items you can live without? Still enjoy life, but are you excessively spending more than you can afford, right? So before I move on to the next one, this is the sheet that I'm going off, is in your workbook. Okay, don't limit yourself, but are you going overboard? Okay, next one, carrying a balance. So if you are carrying a credit card balance and you can't get ahead, and a majority of the charges are necessities, I have here necessities for survival, but you still can't pay it down, more than likely you're going to need additional income streams or pick up more shifts or put yourself out there to create more income coming in, right? But if after reviewing your statements and a majority of the charges are not necessities, it may be time to look at your habits, triggers, and emotions. Now, this is behind your studying. I talk about this in the Money Mindset Academy for her, but I am currently working on a mini course that is specifically for credit card debt and specifically going to everything I'm learning in my certification. I've kind of had this passion for this topic because I've personally lived it, and I feel so many people are stuck in that credit card debt cycle. So I will probably be putting together a mini course on specifically learning about your habits, triggers, and emotions and why you cannot get out of that credit card debt and how to get out of it and not relapse. Because often we can get out of it, or you get a lump sum of money and you pay it off, but then you're back into it again and you relapse. So I'm going to teach on why that happens so that it doesn't happen to you. Okay, so the last thing I want to talk about today before I go check on my lasagna is debt repayment. This is the hardest part, right? When you have a credit card with up to 25% interest, carrying a balance, it can be hard to get out of that, right? Think of me, a $30,000 maxed out on a credit card at 24.99%, and then another $30,000 on a line of credit. I get you. I was on that hamster wheel for a long time. So here's some things that you can do, and here's some things that I did to start to dig out. So there are ways to lessen the blow of the higher interest charges. And I don't know if you guys have looked into this, but as you work on repaying your debts, I put specifically in here that you must address your triggers and spending habits first before you, continue to pay it off. But what I'm saying is I want you to start digging in, and I want to get your wheels spinning on your habits and triggers and emotions when it comes to why you got in that debt in the first place. Because like I had just mentioned, you may get a windfall of money, you may increase your income, you may get a promotion at work, and you may have more money. And you may notice that that balance never really goes away, or you may notice that you pay it all off with this influx of money, but then the next month you're back there again. So you could learn all the ways to pay off your debt, but you could also be constantly chasing that balance of zero, because it's mental. Yeah, it's a mental game. There's triggers and habits and behaviors around there that you need to address first if you officially want to exit the money game once and for all. But here are some things that you can do in the meantime. So you can do a balance transfer. This is what I did. So I used MBNA. It's here in Canada. You can Google it. It's all in your workbook. I did an MBNA MasterCard balance transfer. So it was promotion they were running. So I took my credit card that had $30K on it, and they allotted me, I think, $9,000. They give you so much where you can transfer. So then I transferred that over to a credit card that had 0% interest for 12 months. Now, if you just do a quick Google search right now and just put 0% balance, 0% interest credit cards or balance transfer 0%, it'll come up with at least 5 or 6 different options for you. Now, this is where it gets tricky, and this is where I'm really telling you that you have to address your triggers, habits, and behaviors, because you can do that balance transfer. You just have to have a plan in place. You have to have basically 2 plans in place. You've got to figure out how much you need to pay on that new credit card with 0% interest for 12 months. Because if you don't pay it off in 12 months, it goes right back. It goes up to 24.25%. Now you're stuck with 2 cards at 25%. So you have to be very, I want to say very determined and have the willpower. But I also know that this is a mental game, and that your emotions always trump logic, and that's why budgets may have never worked for you in the past. So sometimes it doesn't have anything to do with willpower and determination, because I was hella determined to pay my debt. It was all I ever wanted in life, and I couldn't do it, right? When I was stuck here, I could not do it because, not that I didn't logically understand, it's a mental game. Your emotions, your triggers, your habits, right? So it's very important. So you just have to have a plan in place, and you also don't want to charge on that new card, because you will get any new charges will be billed at 25%. And then you also, now that you've freed up room on that maxed out card, you want to avoid from charging on it, because the whole point of the balance transfer was to help pay it off. So there's a lot of pieces at play here. The next thing you can do is looking into consolidation. That could be an option. This is how I was able to do mine. At first, though, I had too high of a debt to asset ratio, so the bank just kept declining me to consolidate, which would have been the best option unless I had a co-signer, but I was way too stubborn for that. I wanted to do it all on my own. I did not want a co-signer. So I just kept trying year after year after year. In the meantime, I did the NBNA and just did what I could, lived in that cycle of get paid, pay it down, live paycheck to paycheck, get paid, put all my money on it. I lived in that cycle for a while. But once I was finally able to consolidate, it made a huge difference. Huge. And then the last thing you can do, now I'm not a mortgage agent, I'm not specialized in this side of things, but you could always remortgage and tie it into mortgage payments. I'm only mentioning that because that was offered to me back when I was looking for different options. I didn't go that option. I did the consolidation. But those are a couple things that you can kind of start dabbling in. But the main point I really want to hammer home with the credit card is, again, addressing the triggers, the habits, and the emotions. That's the driver. Especially if you're chronically in credit card debt, there's probably there's something more, maybe a little bit deeper that's going on, that you can't break that cycle. But yeah, I'll talk more about that because it really is a passion of mine, having lived through it and then now training in it. So that is all I've got tonight. I better go check my lasagna. We're going to have carrot cake tonight. do some birthday stuff. And tomorrow we will be talking about, I'm pretty sure it's about subscriptions. So I'll see you guys tomorrow. Hope you're implementing some of these strategies, and can't wait to hear how much money you're saving your family this month, next month, indefinitely. Bye guys.